watching.
I will see myself here, I guess. I think we're on. Can everyone hear me? How's the sound? This is completely my first time doing this, so I want to say hello, but I want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Thank you, Christoph. Maybe I will play some bars and you can tell me if the sound's good. A pair of headphones were connected when they shouldn't be connected. Yeah, now should be everything working again. Let's try again. Yes, now that sounds good. Can you hear the piano properly? No unbalancing, no nothing. I hope that's the last time I ask. Very nice. Thank you, Christoph. You're my tester today. Thanks so much. Well, hello to everyone. We're 12 of us. That's already making me happy. You know, if it's two people, me and someone else, I'm happy. I don't mind. Everyone should enjoy a little bit of music. My plan for tonight is very simple, which is maybe play some of my own music, perhaps, which is very good for a quiet afternoon or evening. I assume it's an evening because I am in Warsaw right now, but maybe you guys are in America or in anywhere in Europe will be the same time, but in America it might be a bit earlier. Either way, thanks for being here. And you know what I will play? I will play now a piece that is. I hate the word special, you know, because everyone says everything is special, but it is personally I have a very profound story with this piece, and this piece is my own composition. I was composed during the 2020 pandemic. I was in New York at the time, and when I was playing this piece, when I was trying to find out what what should I compose or what should be on the piece of paper, I couldn't find what I wanted to put in there. absolutely no idea. I was just trying to find new sounds on the piano, I was improvising, I was doing all sorts of things, and it was nothing was really happening. Then there was this guy with whom I established a very profound friendship. It is he's not a light person, but he's a very profound guy. And his name is Sujatri Raisinger. I met him in New York, and the place where I was practicing during the pandemic, called Clavier House, was the place that he ran for many years. He and his brother for decades, and when his brother passed away, it was only him, and it's still only him. Every time I go to New York, I go there. He's like my my New York family, let's put it this way. And yeah, during the pandemic, everyone knows what we felt, although it's a little bit forgotten now with our renewed lives and everything. But that life back then was quite heavy on the shoulders of everyone. There were some cities around the world that were completely locked down. That was the case of New York, and the case of of where my parents and my brother were living, which is Madrid. That complete lockdown meant that Fifth Avenue of New York was crazily empty. I remember the summer of 2020. It was quite refreshing, but not in the literal sense of the word, but in the in the metaphorical sense, because it was hot as hell in New York, as always it is, and very humid. But it was refreshing in the sense that I was walking down Fifth Avenue several times, and it was eerie. It was no cars, practically no people, of course, and you could hear the birds, which is something that is out of this world to hear birds in Fifth Avenue next to Central Park. But you could actually hear birds nesting, and quite close to the ground too, because the ground was no longer infested by human beings and our smells and car smells and gasoline, that all that thick flavor of New York that we come to love was gone. So now the birds could calm down and enjoy the ground. And in that image that I am trying to portray to you, all the pieces that I call my Opus One, all my abstracts, were born. They were not born out of me sitting down and writing note by note on a piece of paper. They were born out of improvisation. And particularly this piece, that's why I say it's very special, it was born by a very particular improvisation. There was one day, I don't remember which day, I remember it was early summer, and I was talking with my friend, with Sujatri Raisinger, and we were talking for 2 or 3 hours. That was our daily routine, talking for many hours. He did most of the talking, if I am honest, but he, of course, he would always listen to some of my words, what I had to say, of course, but he was the talker. And one day we were talking about music for many children that were coming on the news, that in Spain they had tragically passed away all of a sudden. Nobody knows why, but it was related to COVID. Nobody knows really why. There was one day something in the news. And after that conversation about kids, basically, about the purity of kids, about the capability that kids have to understand music in a very pure way, in a very unhinged way, or in a very there is no preconceptions for a kid about music. They don't even know what the C major for them is. They don't know what. It sounds good or it sounds bad, or it's attractive or it's not attractive. That's about it. So we were talking about all of this. And later on that day, I said, I think I'm gonna compose something related to this. I was quite inspired. So I composed something, I showed it to him, and he said, no, this is not good for a kid. A it has some sort of purity in their hearts, and I was slightly a bit offended, but I shouldn't have been because he was completely right. So what I did next was throw away what I improvised, and as soon as he left out the door of Clever House, it must have been 7 p.m., 8 p.m. He went home. As soon as he left, I locked the door and I sat down at the piano, pressed recording, and I came up with this. I must be the only crazy person that takes an improvisation and writes it down as a piece of music. But I had managing this language for quite a long time, and I felt comfortable doing that. And this was one of the few pieces that I could say that was like this, that I could improvise in whatever the piece is. However, the piece is long, which is 2.5 minutes, so it was 2.5 minutes. I recorded it in situ in a moment, and I sent it very excitedly to Sujati. And before he could actually get to the car, I had already done the piece, and he was a bit shocked. But anyway, that's a small story of this piece, and I called it Reminiscence of a Versoes, of a lullaby. So a remembrance of a lullaby. You could translate it like that in English, and I'm very excited to be sharing this with you now because I'm comfortable enough because new recording of my own pieces is coming out as we speak. Actually, these days, every 2 weeks there is a new release of my music together with Mompou's music. Some of his musica callada, which is also one of my favorite sets for the piano of, I don't know, any time in history. So I think this music and his music complement well somehow because I revere him. No other reason. Not because I think I am in the same level as him. That's for sure not the case. But anyway, I will play another piece which has been never played, never ever been played on stage. Maybe yes. I think my wife played it on stage in Tokyo once, but it was not broadcasted to the world. So this will be the first time that will be online somewhere. And this piece is another piece of the Abstractos, and it's number 7, and I call it en suspense, which is suspended or in suspense. The reason why I put names to pieces that are called abstract is no other than I want to give an inspiration for the person who is reading through my music, or to the person who is listening to my music. I don't want to leave them naked with something completely new. So the titles of the pieces are supposed to inspire you, but not really to give you an image. You can, I hope anyone listening to a good piece of music can wonder what it means, and can wonder what it means for themselves too. That's the great magic of music, that it can make the listeners wonder about their own selves, which is usually not the case, other than with religious things. It's not the case for almost anything in our human lives. Maybe the comment of a loved one makes us wonder about our own selves, but otherwise, absolutely nothing. Only art or God. And in this case, I dedicated this piece also to a very special person to me, who is Galina Yazarova, who was my maestra, my main mentor, musical mentor in my life. And I studied with her 8 years. It's crazy when I think about it, but it has been 8 years. Sorry, it was 8 years with her. And she shaped the way that I see music. She shaped the way I see art. She shaped the way I see sometimes even the world, or human affections, human interactions. She really shaped much of my complex understanding of the world. It's probably thanks to her. So this piece might seem a little bit, I don't know, tragic. I don't like to say tragic, but it's definitely dark. It's definitely dark, because her personality is also quite dark. Her story is very difficult to comprehend from our perspective, from the modern life that we live nowadays all around the world in advanced countries. We live a very comfortable life, and when one listens to her stories about anything, about her being in a gulag, for example, in the Soviet Union, I cannot say you understand some things more profoundly, but you certainly spend a lot of time wondering about lives that we don't get to go through, and very, very dark story. But once more, it's an inspiration. It's not a portrait of her. I couldn't portray her as such a dark person, because she could be my grandmother. She's one of the sweetest people in the world I know. Opposite to what many people might say from her, because they only know her, Galina, in class. Many of her students feel that she's a very strict, very aggressive person. She can be, but when she turns into the personal, when you try to have a relationship with her, she turns into the sweetest person you could ever see. She separates work from the personal life, and that's also wonderful. That's very difficult to do. Sometimes I cannot. I really cannot do it. So this is something that I could speak for hours, but I guess you are not here for me just blubbering, but for me playing something. So here you go. has some questions, please write them in the chat. If you want to ask anything, I'm happy to respond to anyone. My plan for today was also to play for the first time from maybe something from Chopin, actually, which is one of his waltzes. Since 2021, I received feedback from quite many people now. It's dozens of people telling me that I should play Chopin's waltzes as a whole. My professor Jerome Rose in New York said that there has been no great recording of the Chopin waltzes after Dinu Lipazzi's recording, which is I don't know, it's probably right actually. The panache, the atmosphere that he managed to get from such a minimalistic pieces. I mean, the great sense that he has about dancing without dancing, because we pianists we don't dance. We give the impression that someone is dancing, and give that impression without making everyone believe that you are drunk is very, very difficult. A waltz is a very it's very elegant, it's very particular, and it's very difficult to pull off. And it always takes me many, many months to work on one single waltz. Not only by Chopin, but by any other composer. One of my favorite waltzes in the entire repertoire for piano is Scriabin's great waltz. Oh, what a great waltz, actually. The Opus 38. That's really great music. But now we speak about the waltz Opus 42. I never learned it, and I never played it in public. And it was probably the last of the great waltzes, all the way from 18 until 69. Those opuses, you could say that they are the great waltzes. The rest are a little bit more miniatures, although great pieces, but more of miniatures. And the last waltz that I had to learn from all of these great waltzes was the Opus 42. So maybe I play that now, perhaps, for a very dedicated audience today. Yeah, let's do that. it does feel good to be playing without applause, that's for sure. My wife is here and she will not give me an applause. I like it. For sure. Anyway, this is the first, hopefully, of many. Someone asks here, Christoph, it's you. Will you publish the music sheet? Actually, yeah, the copyright has been already done, so the music sheet will be published eventually, soon enough. It's 40 minutes of music, 35 minutes of music, perhaps, something like that. Yeah, the original cycle was much longer, but I cut down a lot of information to be left with the best music. So it's 35 minutes or 40, and hopefully I can actually start working on other pieces that I've been working for years, like my sonata, which has been on the go for, I don't know, when I started doing the sonata was 10 years ago. It's already 10 years ago. It's amazing. And it needs rework and it needs to be finished, but I think it will be done because it's the most interesting musical form for me, and I think it deserves. I give it a try. Just when I'm playing concerts, I have no time to do anything else other than eat, sleep, and look inside of taxis furniture and speak with the taxi driver. That's about my life. So hopefully I have more time in the future and I have some spaces in which I can actually write more. That's a bit of a dream for me right now, but it's a good dream. What else? Maybe I play a couple of the variations, Chopin variations of Mompou, just a couple of them because it's a long piece. Maybe I play my favorite ones. Maybe play the tema too, so everyone knows what I'm talking about. I always wanted to say this in public, which is something very funny. In Japan, many years ago, there was an advertisement in the TV, and that advertisement was for some acid reflux. I don't remember the name of the medicine, but it was for acid reflux or something related to the stomach, for having a healthy stomach, or maybe if you ate too much. Odaisan. Okay, Odaisan. That's the name of the medicine. And the funny thing is that advertisement became very, very, very famous, and the music that was in the background music, the music of the medicine for acid reflux, or whatever it is that they imagined this music for, was Chopin Prelude in A major. And it's the prelude of, it's the tema of the variations over Chopin tema by Mompou. And every time I start this piece, my brain cannot stop making that connection between I am playing this beautiful piece of music, but it's for acid reflux. So it's really, I have to hold my laughter sometimes, but it's pretty funny to me. Maybe I play a couple of variations, okay? Maybe the main tema, the third variation, which is for the left hand, it's very beautiful. I have a theory which is Mompou was left-handed, and I think I might be right. Just because of the way he writes the music. Maybe I play... You know what? Maybe I play the valse, which is a very nice valse in Mompou's harmonical language, but it's a very beautiful waltz. So, yeah, the tema and two variations. There you go. You know what? To finish, my plan today was play until here. Maybe I play also quite a new piece. It's not the first time that I play it, but it's also very beautiful. So yeah, I would love to play it. It's also from Mompou. It's his fifth canzone danza, number 5. I think it's the only one. No, there are 2 of them. So it's the only one of 13, other than number 6. Number 5 and number 6 are his own. They are not derived from other music or folky music. They are completely his own compositions. They don't sound in any way different than the other ones. That's how good Mompou understood the language of his own people. So he made the folk language of Catalonia his own, and he composed more folk language. That's one of the most difficult things to do, and he managed to do it. Anyway, this is not a class. This is an enjoyment of an evening. And then after that, maybe I will improvise something to close the stream, and I will not speak after the improvisation, just so you know. So let me do first the Mompou. And now, yeah, if you guys want to ask any questions, go ahead. And I give it a couple of minutes, and then I'll maybe improvise something very chill, so everybody can go to sleep. But please don't go to sleep while I'm playing. I see somebody here. Ah, Christoph, there you go. How is my list repertoire at the minute? Would it be possible to play Spanish Rhapsody today? Not today, man. Sorry to say. It's also, Spanish Rhapsody is a 4 p.m. piece. It's not really a 10 p.m. piece. I don't know if I explain myself. My list is actually quite good recently because I have to perform these days Liszt Sonata and this Ellen Nonnenwert, for example, which is a very unknown piece by Liszt and is very beautiful. What other pieces? The Legenda. I was recently trying to understand what should I do in the future with Liszt, because of course I want to play as much music from him as possible, but there is too much great music and there are too many notes. So I will be doing that. Just I'm sorry, Christoph, not today, but soon enough, actually, hopefully, because being Spanish, I'm not playing the most important Spanish piece by any other than Spanish composers. Might be Liszt's music for the piano. he has Spanish Rhapsody, and he has a Spanish Fantasy too, which is pretty good, and it's crazy as hell. Very crazy. Very good for the public too. I see here Ballada number 3 by Chopin. Ballad number 1 by Chopin. I could play these pieces, sure. Maybe next live stream I will play these pieces. Why not? Also, I see here Frederica saying, yeah, that's true. Stephen Hu published a CD with Musica Callada. That's true. I actually listened to his recording. It's pretty good. And not enough people know Mompou for sure. There is a very good recording of Mompou by Arkady Volodos. He published that in Sony Classical. So if you guys want to put that in your playlist, love that CD. It made me actually get interested in Mompou, thanks to that CD by Arkady Volodos. So he also has, Volodos has a transcription over one of Mompou's songs, which are heartbreaking Mompou songs. He has very few of them, but this one is called Damunt de tu només la flor. Beautiful. The theme of the song is very dark, very sad, but it's a beautiful song. Yeah, maybe I will be saying goodbye. It has been a bit longer than I expected. I expected to be here half an hour with you guys, and it has been almost 1 hour. So I think my plan will be I switch off these lights and you guys switch off or keep listening to what I play. I will do some mambo jumbo on the piano because I love to do it when nobody is hearing me. So I will pretend that you are not here. And thanks for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And see you next time. I hope that this is the first one which has been quite good actually. I'm happy that not many problems arise with sound or with video. It is only one camera, but still, many things can go wrong. So I'm thankful for that. So thank you guys. See you soon. See you in a concert. See you in the next live stream. I am planning to do much more from now on. I just did one in the past, so I will do this from time to time. It helps me be in touch with you guys, and you can ask me things. I can play some things that you ask. Maybe we'll publish the live stream in advance, and that way you can actually ask me to play something, and then I organize the live stream around those petitions. You can really ask. I'm happy to play what you want. So yeah, see you guys soon. Let me switch off this, and I will be back in the piano.